This is part 3 on how I knit panels on my Centro 48 needle circular knitting machine, and we're going to focus on tuck stitches. So what you're going to need is a loom pick, which I cannot find mine, so I'm using a paper clip, which works as well. And you're going to notice that there are 2 pieces of yarn on one needle, and that's what will become a tuck stitch if I do not fix it. So this happens a lot at the 3rd needle and the 46th needle when you are knitting the panels. So how I fix this is, first we have to gently move the crank handle so we can move the needle, and we have to get the working yarn. So that's the one that's still in the yarn holder, and that's the loop that's on the bottom right now. You'll see when I pull it, it moves the yarn, and we need to get that loop up and under the needle. So this will require either the paper clip like I'm using. A loom pick works really nice if you have that, because it's easy to hold on to and move. And then you'll need to move your crank handle just slightly so you can pull up that needle to get the yarn up underneath it. And you don't want to crank too much, or else you're going to start popping stitches off of the other needle. So it's just very little back and forth. Now that it's under there, we can crank it down and it should grab that yarn, and that's what we want. Another thing you want to watch is, you'll see the black mark I have on the peg. That's the peg that we stop at, and it has to go back over. If you go too far, like I did here, it's going to create an extra loop, which we do not want. We only want the yarn to catch under the 46th and the 3rd needle when we're starting the panels. And so now it's going back over and we're all good. But the reason why we don't go further over onto the 47th or the 48th needle is, you'll see when I come back around to the other side, since I cranked a little bit too far over, my 3rd needle here, it popped up a little bit when I cranked it a little bit too far over. And so that needle just moved just enough where it pops it off of those pegs. So we just have to put that peg back on, or the stitch back on the pegs, and then we should be good to go. So that's just something to watch out as well. And that's again why I mark those pegs, so I don't crank my handle too far over. And that's why there's those 4 needles that do not get any stitches on there. So that is how I fix the tuck stitches and try to prevent having drop stitches when I'm knitting the panels on my circular knitting machine. I will also link part 1 and part 2 of the panel knitting in the video description below that you can click on, and it will take you right to those. And it's how I like to set up my machine for knitting panels, and we do a practice project of making a tea towel. Thank you so much for watching, and please like and follow for more free tutorials. Happy crafting!